I think we'll have to start because we got quite a bit of an audience.
You start now. I'll get this thing live.
Serious. But are we live?
No, 1 second. Yeah, we are live in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start.
Good afternoon, everyone. The image we see on the screen today gives away and shouts out AI all the way. It seems to be the buzzword for a very long time now, for many reasons though. For whatever reason, there's no denying today organizations are embracing AI not as an option, but as a necessity to increase the customer tech reach and to maximize profitability. No, AI is being used across industries, across use cases to improve efficiency. It's basically become a paradigm shift towards digital transformation. And we see that there's a change expectation from customers who are looking at seamless, personalized experience across multiple channels. So if you are a founder or if you are part of a team where you feel digital technology can improve efficiency, welcome today to today's Startup Junction, the topic of unleashing the power of AI for growth. And to take today's session, I'm none other than Mr. Chandrakumar, who's a veteran with over 2 decades of experience in the industry. And he brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the stage. He's worked across many blue chip organizations such as IBM, Cognizant, and Dell, to name a few. He's currently the founder and CEO of WiselyWise, a global digital and artificial intelligence startup. Chandra has also dedicated his career to simplifying technology adoption for the benefit of his customers. His unique strength lies in connecting the dots across multiple domains to uncover critical insights, which has led to market-leading innovations and unique solutions to complex problems. Chandra has a strong advocate of propagates the role of digital and AI that it can play in level playing field for organizations of all sizes. He uses his extensive global experience as a market maker to share insights on how to acquire clients and partners and how to work towards revenue growth objectives through new strategic relationships, direct sales, consulting, speaking engagement workshops, and leading digital marketing campaigns. So without further ado, I welcome you to today's session, Chandra. The next 35 to 40 minutes is all yours. And after that, we'll open the house for Q&A. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Nandini. I hope I am clear, audible.
Yes.
Okay. So thanks so much for the opportunity to the Cisco for Startups team. Very good afternoon, good evening to all of you who have joined from multiple locations. So as the screen points out over here, the question uppermost in all our minds is what is going to happen to the future of humans? And essentially, are we looking at a situation where we are going to say humans need not apply to jobs anymore? However, I hold a counterpoint, which I have been sort of evangelizing over the past 7 years or so. Have you ever seen this headline that more Indians die cleaning sewers than fighting terrorists in Kashmir? As much as the headline is shocking and the images out over, you would see that it's also called the deadliest job in India. Very bad statistics. One worker dies every 5 days as per the official statistics. The millions of workers with great exposure to toxic gases, infectious diseases, and face tremendous social stigma. You may have passed over the same roads where they've been working without even glancing at the sort of work that they are doing. However, a bunch of the younger generation actually looked at it from a different perspective, and the vision was to come out with a robot called Bandicoot, and the vision was to change a manhole robo-hole. Essentially, they deploy a robot to end manual scavenging, and as per their official stats, the robot can clean a manhole in 20 to 45 minutes as compared to 3 hours, and more than 250 manholes in a month, and no more lives are being lost, and they are about to live a life of dignity. So would you still agree that there are a lot of jobs, it's time for actually robots, but humans essentially should not apply for these jobs anymore? Welcome to the session. We will talk on today's topic on unleashing the power of AI for growth. The great introduction, thanks to Nandini. Well, let's have an icebreaker session. I know many of you are joining post lunch, or maybe it's closer to TGIF. However, if you could actually mention on the chat, or you could think about saying that, hey, what did you actually have for breakfast today? Which city are you from? What is a random act of kindness you did for a stranger? So maybe if you could actually put in the comments, or as I said, you could just think about it. We'll take like a 5 seconds to look at some of these comments and ensure that we both get to know each other. Okay, I do see some interesting options. Breakfast is dosa. We still remember all of that. Keeps us human. Of course, it's from Bangalore, right? Idli, great. Why are there no competing? Pongal. Okay, great. So I am happy that I'm not actually talking to a bunch of AI agents out over here. It's still human, and it's very important in today's world to be very clear that not actually interacting with bots, chat bots, chat GPT, and whatever flavor of chat machines which are out over there. Thank you so much for all those ice-breaking answers, and looks like breakfast seems to be having the biggest sort of a ice-breaking moment out over here. Thank you so much. So I already had a great introduction. So essentially, I'm Chandrakumar, founder and CEO of WiselyWise. Been around for about 27 years in the corporate, worked in a multitude of companies, as you can see, and have been focused on computer science for quite some time. And currently, I focus on AI, digital marketing, and CRM as part of my company's mission. Of course, there's a lot of people suddenly turned as AI guru. So the best way to convince an audience is to show your certificate. So obviously, I started studying about AI quite a few years back and started doing a lot of courses, both online and physical. And today I do a lot of keynotes, especially around AI and digital transformation, especially in the ASEAN countries as well as in India. Quickly on WiselyWise. So we've been around for more than 7 years. We got more than 100 plus clients. We focus heavily on AI education, which essentially is our great focus area. So what exactly is the problem that a startup like ours will solve, right? I'm sure we have seen the statistics from the World Economic Forum, from United Nations. You would have seen in the press that more than 54% of professionals in today's world need to be upskilled. And 65% of students, they are going to get into jobs which don't even exist today, right? So this has led to creation of what is we call as a gaping hole, the missing layer of education. So essentially, WiselyWise was started so that we can help people get jobs faster, make it very easy to use in terms of engaging education, and of course save money, time, and effort, and probably lead to more stability and success through online courses, online platforms, through our online communities. So we provide like an end-to-end solution for all of this. Of course, we are on ai.wiselywise.com. I'm happy somebody asked that question. Yes, we do have apps. Please do visit the site. You can obviously ask us questions also later on that, right? Getting back, of course, in terms of our impact, for example, one of the largest pan-India programs we ran was for Amazon, around 15,000 students, educating them in artificial intelligence, starting all the way from grade 3 to grade 12. And these were government schools, and we did it at the peak of COVID across India. And we feel that strongly that AI education has to really start at the school level and not really wait till you move into colleges or corporates, because the AI wave is suddenly caught up too much of speed and momentum. I'm sure all of you would agree with all of these. And we had a very successful program in the past 3 years around this single program. Of course, there are many other programs, but I just wanted to emphasize that AI is also about equitable education. So we're not just talking about only the creamy layer in many countries, but every nook and corner of a country deserves an access to a proper AI education. Bill Gates has announced the AI, age of AI has already begun. I'm sure you're wondering what are those cakes which you see on the screen. It is actually generated by me using Midjourney about 2 months back. Essentially, they look nice, and I know many of you are hungry, so I thought at least let me show you the pictures of such cakes. Many of you may have heard the terms that AI is as important as the discovery of electricity or the discovery of fire, or maybe more important, as Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, has very recently announced. Now, well, we all are looking at the product ChatGPT, the OpenAI products, DAL-E, Midjourney, and you are really looking at some very basic use cases. I'm sure most of you, or maybe all of you, have already used ChatGPT, the free version. Some of you may have already purchased the licenses. I have purchased the licenses. I've been using ChatGPT for quite some time now. I've been using many other AI products for more than 8 years. I mean, of course, because my focus is on AI. And in my opinion, that artificial intelligence is, of course, it started out as a technology. I'm just answering somebody's question here. And today, people like Jeff Hinton, who's the godfather of AI, they are talking about AI as being an alternate form of intelligence. We can't really look at it as an extension of human intelligence, right? So there are a lot of debates going on at this point of time. But what none of us can sort of wish away is that the impact that AI has been making has been tremendous just over the past 3 months. If I just show you some screenshots. So for example, if you look at the creative fields, uh, for a very long time, it was thought that AI can only look at things like playing chess, maybe solve mathematical equations, or maybe write blog posts. But in the past 3 months, people have actually used AI to create original music, deep fakes of videos and music. To the extent today, I believe some of these music albums are actually winning prestigious music awards. Some of the leading singers are actually offering sharing of bounties to very successful, I would call as AI songs similar to their voices. And at the same time, we are also seeing on a very serious note that AI is helping with the healthcare field, especially when you're looking at creation of drugs, which may have taken several years or maybe several decades. And I believe it is speeding up this discovery to just a few months or maybe 1 or 2 years. And that is very good news because many of us are personally affected by so much of healthcare issues, our family and friends, the larger society. And this has come as a very big boon for our current generations in terms of having a better quality of life and also to having longer lifespans. So we are also now looking at, and even I am very pleasantly surprised that the way the human researchers, the human AI folks, ordinary developers worldwide are now using the power of AI. For example, in terms of really very out of the box stuff like how they can use AI to talk to animals. And only about 2 days back, I also saw an article and I actually wrote a blog post about it. Is also how do you really use AI in terms of transforming thoughts into text. So there is sort of a magical element which is coming into a lot of these, but fear not, it's all about science. And of course, a great deal of maths and computer science and a lot of other sciences which are involved out over here. And the reason I'm just sharing some of these very out of the box screenshots with you is to show that the potential of AI is actually unlimited. It is not just in terms of some base level of some discoveries, or as I mentioned, writing some blog post or writing an email, or as some of the larger companies would want us to believe in terms of co-pilots, writing better codes, writing better documents, or maybe writing better QC elements, but it can really go far beyond. And as you can notice, I'm tying back to my original presentation in terms of what is the positive impact that so AI should have and how some people are really extending the boundaries. So when you are looking at AI, it's actually an industrial revolution. So don't look at smaller use cases is all that I would say. So what is really the impact of artificial intelligence? Now, what you have to essentially look at is that whenever we have a new technology or an industrial revolution coming up, you think of it in terms of first order effects and the second order effects. Zero order effects, I mean, it's just that you log in, you try out some stuff. So we don't really want to spend much time on that. And currently we are in a phase of zero order effects, and some folks are moving on to first order effects. So what do I mean by that, right? So for example, if you look at the case of software, building software, the first order effects are that soon you will see the volume of software which is developed is going to grow exponentially. Software is going to be built on demand. It's not going to be sort of pre-built. And this sort of either what we call as a short term or a medium term would soon be eclipsed by a long-term view where the second order effects will kick in. Software essentially, the software development essentially becomes disposable. Instead of maintaining some huge legacy mountains of code, I mean, I used to be part of some huge projects in my earlier companies, and it becomes very easy to create than just maintain. And we are going to see a revolution where anyone who knows a basic language such as English should be able to create their own very complex apps. I will soon come to some of the examples which in my own personal experience we have created in this fashion. Software essentially will become ambient. Your apps will become ambient. It's not going to be very explicit. It's going to be all pervasive. And we have predictions that all of this should kick in within the next 12 months to 24 months. So there is a framework for you to think both in terms of continuing your careers, focusing on education. Let's say if you have children, what should they do in this new feature of AI? If you are thinking of a startup or a new business, then you can't avoid AI really. And if you are really thinking of starting up and you are already a founder and you are potentially looking at how do I really continue, the time to pivot is now. And you can only do that with the help of AI. Now, I don't want to go into too much of details for each of this because people are coming with so much of innovation around this that imagination is the limit and its disruption is sky high. So the question really is why techies should have all the fun, right? We should democratize the whole process of software development, any sort of technology development. So we are essentially looking at three phases. I guess we have now moved over from the phase of coding, for which was a sort of like an elite privilege. Only a few million people worldwide could really code. And we are currently in the zone of no code or low code, where essentially a lot of folks who are still privileged but who may not be sort of techies can develop applications, mobile apps or web apps, or essentially a lot of other technologies using no code tools. However, future belongs to AI generated code or AI generated apps or any sort of new technology which is coming up. In fact, the picture you see on the right side, I actually created for the sake of this presentation using one of the AI text to image prompts. And you can really see that every aspect of the complex software development could really be outsourced to AI as we move forward. So it's both, I would say, an advantage as well as sort of a disadvantage, in the sense that if you take it as an advantage and you really plunge in and start using AI, learn about AI and start implementing it, I think potentially we are all safe. But I also see a lot of resistance from people talking about the impact of AI and why it should not really be allowed. There should be a lot of regulation and legislation and stuff like that. While of course all of that is really true, and while many people talk about AI, they think about the sort of AI what is called as AGI, right? Artificial General Intelligence, what usually is in the imagination of Star Trek movies, if I may just quote Hollywood. But there is also a huge scientific body of thought where it says that what we are really looking at is ANI. It is not AGI, right? We are looking at ANI, which is artificial narrow intelligence. However, the window between ANIs becoming AGI seems to be coming down very fast. And potentially what could super intelligence sort of a future be? It's just up in the air. It's very tough for anyone to predict, right? And till about December of last year, I used to run a lot of programs. We used to talk about AGI, AI, ANI, or like several decades away and stuff like that. But with the advent of OpenAI and ChatGPT and all the investments which are going in, the speed at which the whole things are changing on a daily basis today is really mind-boggling. And I'm sure most of you would agree with that if you're following up with what's happening out in this particular part of the universe. What is the real impact happening on jobs, right? About a month back or so, I had actually put in a post on LinkedIn where we had one of the top minds of Silicon Valley, Vinod Khosla, saying that AI will permanently free humanity from the need to work. It allows us to question the very premise of our life, saying that do we really need to work? What's the sort of work we should do? Am I doing the sort of work that I would like to do, or should I even work or do something else, right? And less than a month, we are seeing companies like IBM are saying that, hey, you know what, we are going to use AI to permanently replace 30% of back office jobs. In fact, I think they would be pausing all any such new jobs, and it is happening as of today, right? We're not talking about a dystopian future. So essentially, as you can see, it works both ways. For the short term, it's very painful in terms of looking at, hey, am I supposed to look at such sort of an hire and fire attitude, or are we supposed to actually look at saying that does AI provide real different meaning to the sort of work that we are doing? If I'm running a startup, what is the sort of work I want to give to my colleagues? If I'm working in a company, what is the sort of work I would expect from my company, or what I would as a manager give to my teammates? So a lot of interesting possibilities are actually arising. So what I would appeal to each of you is to really look at it from the lens of saying that we could question a lot of stuff which we have sort of been brought about as a system, and what is possible to change at your level. If it's possible to change, yeah, we could change, and see what is the real impact which is going out into society, right? Education has been the biggest use case in the past 3 months. I'm sure every what you can call teacher, every professor is looking at it at horror that students are using ChatGPT to write essays or answer max questions. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff which is happening out. It's actually very old news if you ask me. But when you look at again some of the pronouncements that, for example, AI chatbots will teach kids to read within 18 months. Since I'm focused heavily on the education sector, I work heavily with students in rural areas from very remote parts of the world. I'm very thrilled because if I can actually help my students get over the sort of the Bloom's curve in terms of the engagement levels, I would be very happy, right? And that's what my company is investing, and that's what we are keenly looking at. And as of yesterday, I don't know if you had a look at the news, and they said that one of the edtech companies actually lost more than 40% stock value. In fact, I think by evening it was more than 60% or 92%, some number. But the lesson is there that it is disrupting companies at a speed much faster. The half-life of edtechs and startups is much, much lower than what it was, I would say, a few weeks back. And you may have heard about the company called Chegg, and then what it might parlay into other edtechs in countries like India. Well, again, as I said, unless we pivot and we do a lot of other stuff, and I don't know what is that other stuff, so don't ask me about it. But fundamentally, all of us are trying. All of us are having sleepless nights and trying to find out as to whether we work with AI or whether we actually sort of fight against AI. How exactly are we going to, work with all of this? But let us not sort of forget it even for a second. AI's impact is already happening and is happening today. As far as startups are concerned, and it might be a good news for many of the startups, and the prediction from many folks is that for you to build a very viable startup or a very viable business, grow to an enterprise, I don't think headcount is going to be a big deal anymore. It may be much lesser headcount. Of course, the tweet on the left side, you are seeing that Jeremiah is saying that next $1 billion startup will only have 3 employees. Maybe it will have 1 employee, maybe it will have 30 employees. But the message is very clear that the foundation framework on which startups have been built, the sort of talent which startups require, the sort of compensation, the sort of work-life balance, and a lot of other stuff, startups have to really rethink as they really move forward. Employees of startups have to really rethink all of this, and the venture capitalists have to rethink as to how all of this is going to impact, right? As a startup firm, for example, for myself, today we employ AI, and our productivity levels are like at like 80% or 90% compared to December of 2022. So everything from our digital marketing to our sales, our customer journey, to our lead gen, to any sort of content creation, video creation, image creation, because we are a digital and AI business, has been like it's been like supercharged because of AI, right? Both free, paid, combination of what we have created. And we do see that impact is moving so fast, right? So don't always look at it from the aspect of I would say job losses, or the sort of the negative news about AI. Think of it that it's a different world which is actually starting off as of today, right? As far as corporates, right, what exactly is the message for corporates? I did see a very interesting sort of LinkedIn post that businesses won't be replaced by AI, right? The problem for businesses today, I guess, is that their biggest competitors are their own customers, because the customers start using AI, right? And most tech companies are not ready today for their customers to become their biggest competitors, right? Obvious, right? It goes against all sorts of logic, but hey, that's true. Because if customers are not dependent on you for their products or their services, or for the supply chain, and for a lot of other stuff, how exactly do you survive, right? So the sort of thinking, strategic thinking, which has to get into corporates is that AI is all pervasive. It is not just a technology, it's not a tool. You're not going to get a better tool compared to your competitors. So just stop focusing on your competition. Start thinking about saying that how exactly are you going to survive when your customers are going to use AI in all spheres and all domains. And I'm already seeing pronouncement. I'm sure all of you are seeing in social media a lot of big CEOs, big sort of thought leaders actually mentioning that they are going all in on AI. Let's do an sort of an AI brainstorm, right? Why would this be of use? You're spending like 30-40 minutes of your life on this particular session. So can you put on chat, what does this 3-letter word mean? Just wait for a few seconds and see if people are actually answering this. Okay, we are getting some good answers. I don't have any funny answers, so everybody is to the point. Work from home, absolutely yes. Is one of the biggest acronyms. So I took this acronym because it represents remote work, work-life balance, a lot of other emotional aspects, a lot of things that the current generations are expecting from their employers. And being an employer myself, I'm very acute aware of this particular fact. There is a lot of push happening from the corporates. There's a lot of pull happening from the employees or teammates, and it's sort of worldwide is creating the ripple effect. Got nothing to do with AI, but I'll come in a short while as to why I'm showing this particular sort of a trend out over here, right? What is the acronym FIRE stand for? On the chat, please. Anyone knows what is FIRE? Hope I have some younger generations which know what is it. Yes, Abhishek is right. Let me see if someone else also gets it. FIRE is on fire with the current generations in terms of how do I become financially independent and I can retire early, right? So the absolute sort of thing which potentially in our generations we never thought about, sort of retiring early or financial independence was not something on our horizon. But it's so nice to see worldwide fire catching up as a concept and working towards a particular sort of a goal, right? Okay, slightly tougher question. So sort of an anagram. What exactly is this? I have jumbled up the alphabets of the word out over here, but all of us love this. And definitely the Gen Z wants to. Yes, absolutely. Srijan Mehrotra has got it. Yes. It is travel, right? So does all of these acronyms got to do with AI, right? We are in the middle of an AI session. So essentially, what we are looking at is some mega trends, mega expectations which are there in the current workforce, and I'm assuming in the future workforce as well, is that we want to have a more balanced life, a more happier life. We want to travel, not in Bangalore traffic though, but we are talking about travel in terms of our choice of travel and visiting places, having hobbies, um, and at the same time ensuring that we are not financially constrained. And what I would sort of request at this point of time is, when you're looking at use cases for AI, you should look at these sort of mega trends. Do not try to solve how can we deliver food faster, or potentially how can we actually sort of help students cross certain competitive exams better, right? While definitely there will be a lot of people who may be doing that. I mean, all credit to them, they are doing fantastic jobs, they are some of the brightest minds that we have. But AI is not just another digital technology that you want to sort of bottle up and try to sort of just bring down the cost, or you want to improve the profit or improve the revenues, but look at it as an impact at a societal level, right? It could be social, as we were talking about earlier when we spoke about the Bandicoot, the robotic machine for cleaning sewers. But at the same time, there's a lot of other big problems also. If you could find a midway that would really be of great help for the current CEOs, I am one of them, in terms of if you could solve and bring about use cases using AI for these trends like work from home, fire, or travel, I'm telling you, you are sitting on $1 billion idea. Okay. So, how do you really then proceed from here? Now that we have seen AI, you are convinced about AI, it's a very positive stuff, and we looked at what are the mega trends. But it's quite important that don't fall in love with the technology, fall in love with the problem, right? And I just quoting a book by Levine. He's a co-founder of Waze, and you should, I know if you're not read the book, I mean, it's fine. But this is just an indicator in terms of that whenever we are looking at starting a startup, the biggest lesson is that you have to only focus on the problem. Do not fall in love with what technology I'm going to use, what solution, what use case, what best practices am I going to bring in the talent who has done something similar. But it's more in terms of saying that, hey, what is a problem that I could really solve, or which I think is worth solving as my life's mission, right? I think that's where you are really going to be successful, with or without using AI, obviously. But then AI today gives you the right amount of tools in terms of being quite successful on this front, right? So fall in love, the problem, not the solution. Okay. Let's move forward. You have listened to a lot of this stuff, and good things are up ahead for you. Now, if you have not used ChatGPT and you're not learned what is prompt engineering, I would request each of you, please go out and use it and become very good in prompt engineering. It is a thing. It's no more a fancy tool. And today, the level of prompt engineering is really ramping up so fast that we are now looking at autonomous AI agents and plugins and a lot of stuff which will be really mind-boggling. At the same time, I don't want to be seen as just evangelizing AI as a technology. I wanted to give you two examples from my own startup. So on the left, you see Hamsa. She's my co-founder and chief operating officer. And she comes from a HR, human resources background. And she is doing coding as good as any techie out over there using ChatGPT 4. She's trying to create a language app which is going to help students from remote parts of India, Indonesia, many other countries who can learn English because it is the language of communication to get jobs. And she's been able to successfully create an AI agent in a span of few hours. And believe me, she's not touched a line of code before this. Of course, on the right side, I'm I can't call myself a full-fledged techie at this point of time, but I still try to figure out some hypothesis in terms of, hey, can we actually create a more complex system using AI or a chat GPT? Yes, we can. In fact, I designed and I actually created a SaaS CRM, and the write-up is there on LinkedIn. You are free to go and look at it. I think my document is still out over there, including the code that I created, and I tested it out, and it is still work in progress. But I wanted to give you examples in terms of, as I said, from daily life, where people with different backgrounds, whether you are a HR person, you are a COO, or you are a CEO, you could actually do the magic yourself using AI, and that is the biggest change. And with this, with an idea, with the problem that you want to solve, and with the power of AI, I'm sure you could actually impact a lot of lives. I mean, much similar to, for example, what WiselyWise is doing at this point of time. And by the way, those images are actually all from Midjourney, which I created to figure out how sort of a CRM sort of would look like, right? I got this particular sort of a screenshot. I don't know if in front of so many of corporate employees I'm supposed to show this, but I think the talent war is on. There's a huge AI talent war being fought in India, especially in Bangalore. And I absolutely am seeing messages that people are getting BMW motorcycles. I've been thinking that maybe, I don't know, Bangalore still continues to be quite hot in terms of AI talent. I believe it's among the top 3 talent spots for AI. And this is fresh off the press. Just, I think, about 2 hours back, I added this particular screenshot. So, the point really is that there is what you can call a huge amount of change happening in the world as we are in right now. And whether we are a CEO, whether we are an employee, whether we are a manager, any sort of a role, I think my job is done if you actually understand what is the potential, what is the framework of thinking, the first order effect, the second order effects, and what is the long-term impact. And that money is not really a big constraint for startups to become the next unicorn or billion-dollar startup, whatever you want to be. And if you can focus on the problem, not on the solution. And again, as I said, not everybody has to run a startup. You could have a corporate career, very successful one, but please understand, even those things are getting really changed out. So been asked by my marketing team that you are going out and giving out a lot of gyan. How do we really sort of get a lot of people to get in? So I said, like, look, we can't go and sort of be selling out over there, but let's at least get 99% off, right? So that's the code, that's your URL. We have about, I think, 205 courses or something like that, right from school students to college students. Go and have a look at it, go and have a pick at it. Apply Cisco 99, you will get 99% off. That's a promise. And I hope my marketing folks, if they're looking at it, I think I have done my job. So there's a lot of nice, interesting courses, basics of AI. You don't really need to know coding. And then if you really want to become a good techie, generative AI, chat GPT, go into conversational AI. In fact, that course we developed along with Amazon a few years back. We launched it in India 2018 along with NASCOM and others. But that's a long story. Maybe some other time we'll go through all of these things, right? I hope you have taken a note of this and take a photo of this or whatever. I just quickly put together all of this stuff. So till now my slides were looking quite beautiful. This is something I just inserted, so I hope it still looks beautiful, right? So visit ai.wiselywise.com, use the coupon code Cisco99, and you got your deal 99% off on any of these courses, right? Just one quick thing, especially classes 3 to 12. I think there's a lot of debate in India saying that why are school students being taught AI, right? People are, promising we'll send to NASA, all of this stuff. But look, there's a lot of research around this. We are not just, trying to sell some stuff out over here. We have done research. We tied up with some of the research groups in the US, and there's a lot of age-appropriate stuff which has been developed. If you have kids or you have people whom you feel would be interested, just have a look at it, read through that. At least you'll be able to guide your children far better. And of course, if you want to register, please go ahead and do that, right? So that's a wrap. Thank you for the participation, and thanks for watching. I'm Chandrakumar, founder and CEO, and that's my contact details. You can always, contact me. Over to you, Nandini.
Yes, thank you, Chandra. That's been a very insightful presentation and a quick, taking us through the, nuances of AI. I'll open the house for questions over here. Please post your questions on chat. Before we have people, starting to type questions, there were a few while you were presenting, Chandra. So we'll probably take those, Shrijan had a question. How would you front-end consultants at MBB be impacted by AI?
So what is MVP? Sorry, I didn't understand. What is MVP?
Okay. I think even I'll have to check that. But maybe before that, you could answer, do you consider AI to be a discovery or an invention?
See, AI, as I mentioned, started out, of course, as a research project sometime 1954. I think that's called as the year of the birth of AI, if I recall correctly, right? A group of folks came together from corporates and a couple of the US universities, and that's how the age of AI was born. And for about several decades, people really thought AI was just a fancy term, and it was only in the realm of Hollywood movies, right? But only in the past 10 years, ever since we started coming with there was a research on back propagation by Jeffrey Hinton and his teams, some of whom have gone ahead to found OpenAI. And that's when companies like Google actually started getting in. Then they started open sourcing a lot of stuff. It sort of went in a particular direction. And in the past 7 years, it started getting speed. But somehow in the past 3 months in 2023, it seems to be going in a completely sort of different direction with generative AI and autonomous AI. And now the same guys who have been propagating this for like 10 years or 20 years, they're taking different camps. Some say it's good, some say it's bad, somebody say neutral. Again, as I said, they are some of the best minds. I don't have any sort of opinion around it. But the impact has been pretty good. So whether we call it invention or a technology, it has been evolution over like 70 years or so.
Absolutely. I do get the acronym MBB. It goes back to you. You're questioning audience. Your audience has made it very tricky. So it's basically McKinsey, Bain, and BCG.
Okay, so what is the question again? You said front
How
end?
would you front-end consultants such as McKinsey, Bain, BCG be impacted by AI?
Interestingly, yesterday I saw a post, right? I mean, many folks were, I don't know if you guys are active on LinkedIn, for example, you would see many people are posting saying that AI is a good tool in the hands of data scientists and data analysts, right? But as of yesterday, people are saying that AI is the new data analyst. I, it's we had a very famous slide which we used to show to students where we used to say, you know what, the safest jobs are data scientists, programmers, coders, creative people, right? All of us have been proven wrong because AI has come for those jobs the first. So it's not going to be a productive tool if you ask productivity tool, sorry. But I guess it's going to completely remove these sort of jobs, research jobs, sort of things which has to deal with information and things like that. It's already happening, and you're seeing some of the layoffs are directly because of AI. I did see some of these companies are also directly laying off employees they've never done in their history. But it's an open announcement by them. It's because of AI, right? So yeah, it's not a good scenario for a lot of us if we want to continue the way we were still in 2022.
Right. So, two questions here. I know somebody's asking, you did touch upon the edtech space, but also there are a lot of education institutes that are putting few, systems in place. But how much of AI tools like ChatGPT would impact students and the edtech space?
See, as far as edtechs currently, as I see, what you can call as the successful sort of VC funded ones are focusing on competitive exams, tuitions, and things like that, right? But with AI, you basically get like a personalized tutor free of cost. So I could go and as a young school student, I could potentially ask for any topic, and I could say, you know what, act like a max teacher and explain to me this concept. And ChatGPT does a fantastic sort of work of it, right? I've tested it, and I did see a demo by people from Khan Academy where they're actually having the AI guiding a young student and sort of working with the person as if it's like a one-on-one tutor. This simply cannot be replicated by any ed tech, because you have, like, let's say, hosted videos, sort of lesson plans and curriculum. You can download it, maybe some fancy graphics and stuff like that. So that was all the earlier versions. AI has taken it off, ripped it apart, and I guess it's gone to some other different dimension, which that experience that an AI could give today to a student, no college, no school, or no edtech could potentially give. Now the question really is that I have the experience as a student. The questions in front of society is, why do we need all these edtechs and schools and universities? Because at the end of the day, the objective is knowledge. And I mean, if the objective is getting a certificate, well, I don't have an answer for that. But if you really want knowledge, then yeah, you are going to see that the way it is disrupting, and it is free, it's open sourced, and it's been run by some of the biggest sort of names in the world, like Microsoft or Google, or for example, Elon Musk and Tesla are also investing in something like that. The power is going to get concentrated in just a few places, right? The only place I would advocate is, are we going to get equitable access to every student, let's say in a country like India, uh, whether it's the remote parts, the villages, or people who do not have that sort of infrastructure facilities, and whether we will lose the long tail of education for these various students. That's the only sort of a challenge that I would want to solve as an edtech. I don't want to solve saying that, what, uh, 10 of my students got IIT JEE first rank or whatever stuff. That's not of any meaning anymore.
Oh, and I hope like employees, teachers are not at risk of losing jobs. But we have a few questions from the LinkedIn audience as well, Chandra. So there's a question on how will AI impact the not-for-profit sector?
Not-for-profit sector, again, I work very closely with the non-for-profit sector worldwide, right? The not-for-profit, the challenge, I won't say is, I would say, sort of resources. There's still problems, right? But what is the problem, if I look at it, is saying that how do you really scale up some of the solutions which you have, right? For example, if I have got access to very good teachers and I'm a non-profit, I want to replicate that experience for many of the other students, I can't simply like clone my teachers. But with AI today, I have a way, a scientific way for me to scale up that good sort of a teaching, sort of a tutor experience at very, very low costs across my segments, right? Now, I'm just taking the example of education, which is where we are heavily focused on. But if I apply my brains, I do some more brainstorming, I'm sure I can apply the same AI scaling into a lot of other areas, right? Whether it's healthcare, whether it's monitoring of, let's say, the goodness of people, right? How do we actually ensure there is financial equity, right? How do I increase employment with all of these things? As I said, if I can start a startup with just 1% and I can actually make it very successful, and I can do it from any part of the world, I can actually solve the jobs problem much better, right? I can make many people entrepreneurs. So nonprofits have to reorient their thinking in terms of saying that how exactly the scaling that we could potentially do using AI. Think of the first order effects, which I just spoke about in the presentation. The second order effects will come slightly later. It's very tough to think of those things right away. But the first order effects, which are very evident in front of our eyes, is that I should use AI to really scale up some of these solutions at extremely, extremely low cost levels, maybe even free, right? And if I can influence the governments to step in and help in a big way, because there are a lot of associated infrastructure for AI, right? For example, I need to get tablets or something like that, or mobiles. I think that would be a proper, equitable allocation of resources that a non-profit has, in terms of the deserving sections getting it more, rather than sort of diluting it over the complete sort of a supply chain, right? So that's my take currently on how the nonprofit could actually look at AI.
Sure, sure. We also have someone asking, do you see there being any perils of AI, with misinformation that's going out there? Because it can be used in any way, right? AI. So, what is your take on that?
Well, I'm an AI agent, so you're believing me, right? So the I guess definitely we are not at a level where we have any control over what is going to happen with AI stuff. Is it going to be dangerous? Is it going to be bringing a lot of perils and more misinformation, more of disinformation, political agendas, and some people are even saying that AI will actually kill off all humanity because we are not energy efficient, we are not bothered about climate change, and things like that. uh, Look, again, as I said, right, we could always envision a very dystopian future, but my point is that who is really going to stop?
Well,
Governments
in
are not
that,
going to stop.
yeah. So, in that case, do you think there should be some legal or laws that should come into place for when it comes to technology?
The question is, are we going up a battle which is really not the right way to look at this whole thing, is what I would say, right? Because how do you really legislate around bad actors? I mean, already they're bad actors, right? They're not going to stop it just because you are legislating some stuff. We had the whole brouhaha around cryptocurrencies. We were all
Correct.
like very sort of thing, saying that, financial inclusion, we are going to get hundreds of millions of people, the unbanked sector, the non-bank sector, and we will bring in stuff around cryptos and things like that and help people. And bingo comes all the crypto scams, and suddenly all the goodwill and things have just sort of vanished out, right? So I think transparency is the only thing I can say, because if people are open, governments are open, companies are open, what exactly are they doing, what AI is there, maybe there is it's allowed to be accessed by many more people worldwide. There could be a faster consensus in terms of how exactly these things could be stopped. Interestingly, I don't know whether it's true or not, but I did see a job ad by, I don't know if it's OpenAI or somebody, where they actually had a kill switch engineer. In
Oh,
case the AI goes out of hand, they will call that person. They have to just plug out the machine from operating. Maybe the solution is as simple as that.
sure. Just squeezing in a question or two which we have received. You mentioned travel. How do you see the use case of AI in travel?
I was using it from the perspective of saying that, do you want forced travel like your Bangalore traffic? Or do you want to really travel to exotic locations, right? I mean, I'm only mirroring the aspirations of the younger generation. Not that I don't have an aspiration, of course I'd love to do, but we come from a more fixated sort of a mindset in terms of how we work in corporates, how life should be, and things like that, right? But when I generally look at what are the aspirations, and I think it is very apt, because they are the future, and they have to look at saying that, look, I want to have a more balanced life, I want to travel, and I want to travel the way I want to do. And travel means I could work remotely.
Yeah.
Uh, I should be paid in dollar salaries in Bangalore. Why am I being discriminated? So all valid questions. But I do see the ecosystem is pushing back with a lot of negativity around this, and a lot of great minds are sort of not finding a solution, but it's like clamping down, saying that, well, either take it or leave it, sort of a stuff. But I look at it from the perspective of saying that I'm talking about AI as an industrial revolution. Can I use it for some use cases by which I can meet the aspirations of the newer generation, especially around, let's say, a great category like travel? And I think that's where the impact would be great, because you're meeting the aspirations of people. You are meeting them where they want to be met, rather than, as I said, right, food delivery within 7 minutes or 8 minutes. I really don't know what is the difference it's really going to make. And I was talking about travel in that sort of a context. But it's a great question, because I think travel will become more important, because I think all of us would want to get out of our houses. I don't want to be stuck to AI and digital like 24/7.
Sure. I think COVID taught us the hard way. Humans are not meant to be homebound. So absolutely right there, Chandra. And I think we're out of time for the session. Srijan mentions that might change how ownership works as well. True. So with that, I think some of our audience joined in a bit late. They want a recording of the session, which we can give them. Do they also get a handy copy of the presentation, which we can share with them? Let us know about that.
We'll do that later on. Yes.
Yeah, sure. And
yes, you guys can also avail of the coupon code, and let's see how many of you get into the journey with us. Of course, feel free to contact us because we are always allowed to talk to people, help people. We're always into sessions. So
sure.
contact us.
Sure. That'll be great, Chandra. And okay, somebody wanted to know. So what we can do is, a lot of people want to know your coordinates. If you can share that slide with your coordinates, we'll, share that with the participants today, in case they want to reach out to you.
Yeah, sure. I can send it to you.
Yes, you do that. I'll email it to all our participants today.
Sure. Let me do that.
With that, thank you so much, Chandra. It's been a lovely session, a lot of enlightenment about AI. Like I said, it's been a buzzword for the longest, for many reasons. I didn't want to dwell in that. I left it to you. But you've cleared a lot of myths, given a lot of food for thought, and shared the way forward. So thank you so much, and we look forward to connecting for some future sessions as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thanks to everyone for having joined this session.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you to all our participants and LinkedIn Live audience for joining us today. Thank you so much.